Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm guest hosting today for Kevin Doyle, who's flying in hot from Florida, traveling the world. And I'm joined by Paul Bratz. I said it wrong. It's just Paul. I can't say names. I'm already messing up. So, Paul, tell me about, I saw on Twitter that you're making some type of like AI thing for video or something like that. Tell me about that. What are you doing?
So I'm doing a couple of different things. The recent project is because I'm always trying to find people to talk to, and I'm really big fan of Cyberpunk and Blade Runner. So I created this app powered by OpenAI that allows you to generate random characters in the universe. And then it'll generate a picture and a backstory. And then you could actually generate additional stories that you could read about the characters. And then the feature that I'm working on now will allow you to chat with those characters about anything you like. So it's basically being part of the story and interacting with them. That has nothing to do with me not being able to get dates. It's just a separate application that I'm building. Somebody complained that it's like, exactly. Why does it generate lady characters? I'm like, look at the prompt. It generates both. It just, the AI is biased, but all right. Well, they'll find you at Coding After 30. They're Coding 30, right? So. Yeah, coding on Twitter, Coding 30, YouTube, Coding After 30. Yeah, cool. Checking for Hey, and we're joined by Sarah Kimmel at Family Tech. So I saw a YouTube video I was watching your YouTube channel. I just subscribed. So now you got a new sub today. Woo-hoo. And I noticed that you were on TV telling people about family gaming. You didn't mention that the family game is Call of Duty. I want to know why. So what do you think a family game is?
Family game is something you can play with the whole family, not just like the mature rated level people. So, but there are some games I love playing with the family. The main one being all the Jackbox games. If you're not playing Jackbox games with your family, you're just not living because it's so much fun. There's a ton of different ones. It's originally when I was like in high school and stuff, You Don't Know Jack was a big thing, but it was, a PC game. But so there is You Don't Know Jack included in some of the Jackbox party packs, but they've got some really fun games like Drawful and Quiplash and things where it's really interactive because everybody can just sign in from their phone. You don't have to download an app or anything. And then you're just playing, so if you're on the PlayStation or Xbox, or you can even play it on your Amazon Fire TV, you just install Jackbox games and you can play just by logging into a website on your phone. So I really love that. Another one we actually really love is we have an Oculus. I wanted to mention this last week, but Acron is actually super fun. One person wears the Oculus and then everyone else can download the Acron app on their phone and interact with the person playing through the Oculus. And, basically you're trying to gather acorns and the person with the Oculus is trying to destroy you from getting the acorns. Okay.
So this Christmas, when I have my family Christmas gathering, I shouldn't put the round robin Call of Duty tournament together. I should break out Jackbox games is what you're saying, right?
Yes, Jackbox games. And seriously, no matter where so we have a party every, what is that holiday? New Year's Eve, but it's a ton of family members, like not my family, my friends and our kids. Most of my friends have families that have 5 kids or more. So it's a broad range. And literally every time we put on Jackbox, just for the adults to play, all of the kids just start coming in and wanting to play too. So we've had to start giving them their own Jackbox downstairs. And then we can play it upstairs with the adults.
Okay, cool. And now I'm taking over the hosting duties for at Kevin Doyle, my partner in crime here at Coder Foundry. You've been traveling today. You went to Disneyland and somehow you got banned at Twitter for going to Disneyland. So tell us what's World. Like to be banned by Elon.
Disney World. I went to Disney World, the other
Disney
one.
World, not land, yeah.
I went to the one in Florida, I was the one in California. I've never been to the one in California, actually. I've been near it, but never been there. I've been to the Florida one a few times. But I went to see the Star Wars stuff, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I was away and I got banned. I got suspended from Twitter. I get an email that originally looked like a spam, right? Because I was like, oh, sure, I got like, what do you want me to do? Click the link in the email and take me somewhere and like rip me off or something? And I was like, so I loaded up Twitter, as you do, and I was like, your account is suspended. I was like, oh, it's suspended. Like, what did I do? Apparently I broke some spam rule. I broke a rule about platform manipulation and spam. My account has to be the least, my account's boring. Anybody that follows me on there, I had to message them and be like, hey, you do realize I'm talking about tech and like AR and AI and like it's
Coding.
The least spammy account I've ever come across.
Yeah.
I don't understand like what happened. So yeah, I'm currently suspended. We'll see. I'll give you an update next week as to see if I'm still currently suspended.
So it's kind of weird though. I put a tweet out that said, hey, Elon, unsuspend my guy. And then I was getting responses to that tweet, but I can't see them.
Here's the thing. I could see them. They were spam responses, right? The responses to your tweet were literal spam that was like, hey, contact at so-and-so. He'll help you out. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as you contact them, be like, yeah, give me $300 and I'll definitely unsuspend your account for you. Like, it's so bad. I don't know. As far as I'm 99.9% sure I haven't done anything that should get me banned. I genuinely think it's an issue on a tech thing where I've been swept up in some net of I don't know what. Like, I have no idea. My guess is Twitter sucks. Actually, I know Twitter sucks. Maybe this doesn't get me unsuspended. But Twitter sucks, and I'm this close to just like being done with it anyway. So
we're on blue sky now. So like, so maybe that's
Twitter found out you got on blue sky, and they were
that's
like,
what happens. They ban everyone on blue sky.
Maybe we'll see. But they've got to tell me that, right? If that's the case.
They're getting kicked out of their office building, so they just don't know what's going on.
They're not paying rent. Do you see they're not paying their Google bill either? Like, it is a Twitter. It's a dumpster fire over there. It is an absolute dumpster fire. It is turning into a giant mess, more than it has been for the last, 6 months. I don't know.
All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about some articles here. We got some things in the news. An AI drone goes rogue. I think that's pretty interesting. Everyone, we read about that. And ChatGPT gets sued for libel. So finally, some of those hallucinations that are happening that maybe this will be the end of AI as we know it. The lawyers killed AI, not the people. The lawyers will. And then finally, if you have an iPhone and you're using Doordash, you're probably paying more than an Android user because, Android users don't make as much money as iPhone users. So they charge you more. So there's a new Apple tax. Just because you can afford the phone, you should pay more for all your services and Doordash. And then we've got our not null section, and null and not null. We can guess what Kevin's is.
Yeah. But, can you guess what my null is this week? It begins with a T and ends in Witter.
So first, let's talk about an AI drone goes rogue. So the story is that they were testing drones, and every time the drone hit its target, they would give the drone 100 points. And then every now and then the operator would tell the drone not to shoot the target. And apparently, and it's been, the Navy's come back and said this didn't really happen, but we'll see. The drone turned around and killed the operator. And this is a simulation, obviously not actually blew up the operator, but it's a simulation where because it wanted the points, that therefore it had to complete its mission because that's the formation inside of AI. Now, the thing that makes this a little bit believable for me is that when you hit the like button in ChatGPT, or you say, hey, this response is really good, the AI will give you more responses like that. That's another training mechanism. So giving affirmation requests to an AI is a good thing. So I'm going to go to you first, Paul. You're a programmer. What do you think? Do you think if are you worried about AI just taking over to make sure that it gets its 100 points? It's just a
He's
game.
Like 50%, right? So
oh my gosh, I know. You're talking
just
to
went
like
up.
the doom and gloom. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to buy cyberdyne.com so I could start my next company building AI powered terminators. It's something that I always worry about, the fact that to me, when I think of AI, I think of it as like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old that will do anything to get attention. And it seems like the more, like you make it unhappy, the more it'll figure out ways to get rid of you from the equation, just because it's like, hey, this is my goal. This is what I want to do. And the fastest way for me to accomplish it is for you not to be here. I do like how in the article, they were like, no, I misspoke. We didn't actually run these real tests, to which I'm like, sure, you didn't. And then you kind of came out like, no, it was totally, simulated, and that did not happen. We're not trying to push this technology that we don't know how it works to put into machines that will take people's lives without us doing anything. We totally didn't do that. I think it's to me one of the scariest things to think about is having non-human make that final decision. And to me, that just like once that happens and there's no control around it, we're in big trouble. But I am still, even though I'm very pessimistic, I'm optimistic that a lot of people that work with tech like this are, being considerate and being smart about it. So I don't know. I'm going to rewatch Terminator 2 later today.
When I originally added the story, by the way, because I added the story to our idea board when this first came out, this was a totally different story. And it's kind of weird. This same link was basically the original thing that they redacted, right? And said, we didn't do that. Because originally they said they simulated it. And then now they're saying, we didn't even simulate it. It was just speculation. This is what would happen. Which
thought experiment.
Thought experiment. I'm screaming BS on that. There's no way. This definitely happened in a simulation. There's no question about it. The original guy was originally quoted as being like, oh, it did this thing and it turned around and it fake killed the operator. Or he even was specific enough to say that even when we told it not to kill the operator, it shot down the communication towers. So the operator couldn't communicate and say you wouldn't make that up. That's not something you made up. That's something that actually happened in your simulation. I know it's like doom and gloom, but just be honest about it. Don't retract it now. It just makes you look stupid.
Well, I love that they said, like, it totally didn't happen. We did not run this simulation, but this is something that could possibly happen.
Yeah, and we have lots of details about it.
We didn't do it, but like it's totally possible that this could happen. Like, why even like walk back the like we didn't do it when you're like, but this really could happen. So
I think they should actually be testing it this way. I think in software you should always negative test. You should always say what's the worst possible thing that could happen, and they should come out and tell it that's what's doing. So who's worried about like a drone storm that cut loose 1,000 drones and it like bombs, Chicago or something, So is that what we're worried about? Like, just so we can get points.
Maybe.
It's like, could that happen? What do you think, Sarah? Do you think that could happen? Are you worried about that?
Well, isn't that what happened in the second Spider-Man? Like with the...
It was London, but yeah.
Right. So yeah, it totally can happen. I've already seen it. But yeah, I think it's definitely within the realm of possibilities. Like just even like that's why I brought to my head the Spider-Man thing, just that swarm of drones. Like there's so many that can like all be programmed to do similar things. This is why my percentage was like 10, 15%. Like it can definitely happen. And then because they don't have that like reasoning, where all they're trying to do is accomplish a goal and they can't see that like this and this is harmful to the human race. They just want to accomplish the goal and they don't understand nuance like that.
See, AI is rewarded. When you reward AI, it gives you similar results. And so when you tell it to kill a person and then you give it 100 points saying, okay, that's what I want, and tell it not to do that, it's really saying, nah, this is what you want.
Points.
Right.
You're wrong about the input there, buddy. This is what you want. You want me to kill everything. And it doesn't know they're just trying to a terrorist or a guy walking down the street. So is your what is it? P doom factor? Is it going up, Paul? Is it going to like
my factor is
now?
up. I'm a part of the problem anyway. Like I'm going to create a class, how to prompt your Terminator, just ride that wave to make sure that, I'm making money in the process of as we dive down into what the end of the world is going to look like. But I think machines should not have any ability to reason to make that decision of who do you terminate or who you don't. It's not something that we should delegate at all at this point. And I like how, again, in this story, they're like, oh, hypothetically, I saw a YouTuber who actually makes pretty cool things. He made a drone that will identify your face and fly into it really, really fast. So it's like any person now could build that thing themselves if they know a little bit of coding. And the fact that random people on YouTube could do that. Like military is probably like 20 years past that. They already probably have the technology and they're just trying to like, cover their bases. Like, oh no, this is a hypothetical means like, I'll tell you what hypothetical means. Hypothetically, there's like Area 51 or whatever that base is that you could physically see from the satellite. And hypothetically,
Roswell.
that's where all that stuff happened that we're not able to tell you about. So hypothetical basically means like it happened, but we just insert hypothetical in there in between. So you're like, oh, if they said hypothetical, then it's not true,
Yeah, we already know the military is using drones just as kamikaze pilots, like that was done in World War II, where the Japanese would just crash into the ship. And now they don't even have to have a pilot. And so like Ukraine's using that, supposedly crashed into the Russian constant, or maybe the Russians did themselves. Doesn't really matter. They piloted a drone into a building. I do think that one of the things that I read a lot of military news. One of the things the U.S. Navy is worried about is just 10,000 drones swarming a aircraft carrier and just sinking it with, 20 DJI drones or something like that with a payload on it. Just a cheap drone that just flies into it and you can't shoot them down fast enough for too many of them. So it is kind of scary if they just start making their own missions.
Right.
Well, that's the problem here, right? So as Paul said, like, the AI shouldn't be making the yes or no decision. And this is the problem with this in this particular case, where it highlights the AI didn't actually make the yes or no decision. It was explicitly told it could not make the yes or no decision. But as you said, it said a human must make that yes or no decision, but you're also rewarded for when you do this task. So it basically said, well, forget the yes or no. I don't really care about that anymore. All I care about is getting the points. Therefore, I will force it to be a yes. And it thought of very creative ways, which comes back to our story we talked about before about the person who hired the AI the AI that hired the person, to click the captcha. It's the same kind of get around, right? It's like it's a means to an end. It's like I would literally do anything to achieve that task, and I mean anything. But aren't we supposed to bake in rules? Haven't we always? We've seen iRobot, right? Aren't we supposed to have Asimovian rules? Like, aren't they supposed to be baked into all of this stuff that you can't hurt humans and all this extra stuff? With this current wave of AI, we're not even talking about that stuff at the moment. We're really not. That should be like top of like mind on everything we're talking about, but we're not.
I think this is what does encourage me about this story is they're actually negative testing it in a simulation. Like, they should come out and say, yeah, this is why we're testing it, because we don't want this to happen. It does happen. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Well, it happened. I don't think they expected it to happen. I mean,
hypothetically,
a lot of times when you're writing software, you're like, let me get this working and then I'll come back and see what the problems are. So right now they're trying to figure out, can we make an AI drone? How good is the AI? Can it find the target? Can it do it? And so they're trying to train it, say, oh, that's the target. Give it 100, give it 100, give it 100. And then they said, what if I tell it not to do that? It still does it. So like that's a problem. So now we have to figure out how to like negatively train it as well as positive training.
I read somewhere where if you say don't do this, it doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand like negatives.
It's the same with generative AI right now with Midjourney and stuff. If you tell it not to put a pair of sunglasses on somebody, there's one thing it'll do. It'll definitely put the pair of sunglasses on somebody. It doesn't understand the negative
the not operator.
Yeah.
Paul, it doesn't know what a not operator is. It doesn't know what not null is.
What's wild to me is that, how, let's say you tell ChatGPT like something bad, they'll say, I'm an AI model, I'm not able to like say this. And then you'll say, let's role play. And you're this character. And then it'll be like, yeah, you suck, whatever, I hate you. Like all this stuff that it wasn't supposed to say, now it's able to say again. So it's, it's like to break it, it seems like there's, like we've talked about before, there's not enough things in place to kind of stop you from kind of making it do what you want. And the basic stuff that I now know, for instance, like I'm generating these AI stories, and I'm wondering, like, what would be like the next step? Can I, through the stories, role play a scenario which covers like this example? And then what are the chances of having it connected to like a auto GPT agent that will have a conversation with itself to get to a certain goal? And what are the chances that I could buy like a drone from like Best Buy and have the auto GPT be able to pilot and control it by itself, where it becomes like completely autonomous. And I feel like you could already do that with some basic knowledge. Is it going to be like, I mean, it's going to do a lot of random stuff, but the fact that you could do it is scary. And then if you just multiply that by like 100x of what the Navy has. And so that's pretty insane. And don't ask me why, like I've seen this, but randomly, like this was like a bunch of years ago, I was like, if I were to buy a combat drone, like where would I go? You know, like if I were to have millions of dollars. And apparently there's like conventions that I held where you could go and see all the latest like tech drones, and the fact that they are pushing this autonomous like machine that's able to do missions by itself. And this was like 5 years ago. So I can't imagine what they now have. It's kind of crazy.
Paul also works in hypotheticals, and he totally didn't do that.
Of course it did not. It was a hypothetical thing. Everything I say is a story that is hypothetical. Like hypothetically, I'm 6 feet tall. You just can't tell because of the camera angle.
So let's move on to our next story. So this story is kind of interesting because this shows the opposite of ChatGPT and AI, where it kind of is not very good. And so apparently there's a journalist out there that's writing a story, and the story makes up a lawsuit that accuses this guy of like stealing money and all these things. And then the guy apparently publishes the story. So he's suing ChatGPT, OpenAI, for defamation or libel. So, Kevin, we know that when you printed out your bio, it made up stuff about you. What do you think about this story? Should journalists, obviously, they need to be more careful, do their jobs better. But do you think OpenAI is responsible for things like libel and defamation of character? I'm also want to ask you another question, too. Think about this. If someone just Googles us in ChatGPT and it comes back with false stories, that's bad too. So it's almost like the new web page, and I guess OpenAI is publishing it. What do you think?
It's insane, right? It's I don't know. So there's going to be a lot of talk around Section 230 for this,
right?
That's something that's going to happen because Section 230 protects like social media companies and people online, the host, from the publish content on those platforms, right? So like you can't sue Facebook when somebody posts something of defamation on Facebook, right? You sue the person, right? So, but it's way different with generative AI. It's not the same thing. It's a platform, but it's actually generated it. So it's almost like the person, but it also needed a prompt to generate, by the way. It didn't just do it on its own. So it also had some user input. So it's like, it's going to be weird. I saw there's a bill they're putting forward to carve a little section out of Section 230 that says that it does not protect AI and generative AI from Section 230. So they are trying to say, like, it is going to be responsible for it. And I've said from the very, very beginning, regulation will kill AI. That could be the one that absolutely kills it, because I mean, it way over hallucinates, right? It way over hallucinates. So I just ran my bio, by the way, again, I put it through Bard because it was the one that came up with the craziest of all of them, right? like some of them will now say, friend. No, Google is not my friend. Apparently, it thinks I do all kinds of things. Apparently, I mean, there's so many hallucinations in it. It's 90% non-factual. It says that I work on Google ad platforms. I do not. It's, by the way, I asked it for, so here's what I asked it. I said, give me a bio for Kevin Doyle, host of the Not Null podcast. It says that I've been a podcaster for 10 years. I work on Google ads. I don't. A weekly show about software engineering, technology, and the future of work. Not really, but okay, close enough. I mean, it got all kinds. It says I'm a graduate of University of California, Berkeley. So, like, if you just try and find your own information in there, it's so wrong. I don't think this suit's going anywhere. I really don't, because I don't think, like, there's no precedence for it yet, and I don't think they will hold it, like, accountable, because they'll just be, it'll end up being some kind of a class action, because, like you said, it's wrong about everything. So It's like this, it's not just wrong about this one guy, and it's like defamed him somehow. It's defamed me too. Like, what if I I don't do that. It says I enjoy hiking. I hate hiking. Like I'm going to sue because it says I do something I don't. It's like, it's nuts. But somebody's got to be the test case, and sure, have at it.
So Sarah, if ChatGPT, if we Google you on ChatGPT and it says bad things about you, do you want to sue OpenAI? Do you feel like you should have recourse? Go after them?
Well, first, I think if it's saying bad things about me, I must not be being very polite to my Alexa. So make sure you say please and thank you to Alexa, and maybe they will hallucinate bad things about you. But in this case, they're literally accusing him of crimes. Like ChatGPT is accusing this random radio host of crimes. And I can see where, defamation is a big thing, right? And especially for somebody who is a public figure, you have to prove malice. And malice means like not that they were mean about it, but that they knew it was false when they said it. And so how does ChatGPT know it's false when it said it? And who's responsible for that? Is the people programming it responsible for that? Or, but I don't think it can accuse people of crimes because there's people who will believe that, it's a real gray area. Like I can see where this lawsuit actually has a lot of merit, but I don't know where we go from here. Like, do we just not believe anything the ChatGPT says? Like, can we say like, well, we can have a reasonable suspicion that nothing is true because it came from ChatGPT. So you're really not defamed because it's not harming you at all because nobody believes it. I don't know.
Right. So, Paul, I'm going to pose this to you. I'm going to pose this question to you about this because I'm interested in what Sarah said. Like, no one's going to believe this except the lawyer that went out and posted the false case, the journalist that wrote this story. Those are the people that should know if the stuff comes back as fake or not. And apparently everyone just believes whatever this pushes back. What do you think?
I feel like the people that should be punished are the people that overhype AI and its capabilities. Like I've been playing with ChatGPT for a while now. And one thing that I will tell you for sure, it's not a knowledge-based engine. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't know who Paul is. It doesn't know who Kevin is. It doesn't know who that guy is who embezzled. Literally, it has no idea that the world exists. And it's just a very clever trick of using statistics to guess what the next word is going to be off the prompts that you gave. So first of all, it's a machine, so it can't it doesn't know who that guy was. So there's no malice. Like it's just randomly generated words. If what I could do is I could take a bunch of random words and I can assign them to different numbers, and then I could roll my dice and generate like a story based off the random words that I get. It's basically what ChatGPT is doing. Is just like much more refined than that. But it has no idea who we are as humans. It has no idea of the subject we're talking. It just generates things that we as humans perceive as like, oh, that makes sense. But it's all text generated based on statistics. And so there's certain use cases that will be great for, and then there's certain use cases like that it's not great for. And one of them, it has no idea if you ask it who Bobby is, who Paul is, right. And it'll make stuff up. And people that don't understand it, they treat it as a human and they're like, oh, it defamated me, or oh my gosh, it said this and that. And I think the biggest thing we should do that'll be helpful for everybody is to release more content around what ChatGPT is and what it's not, so people don't get in trouble using it because someone who's not technical, literally they'll watch a YouTube video and be like, oh, like ChatGPT is self-aware. And they're like, oh my God, self-aware, must know everything. So let me ask it how to invest my money in the stock market. And then they'll invest their life savings instead of putting it away to their college kids and lose it all. And then they're going to blame ChatGPT. Well, you can't. It's like, because, it's you who did not know enough, and you could play this naive, it being like, oh, I was too naive. I didn't realize that it's just a fancy like probability thing that generates random text in a way that makes sense to us. But so I feel like if we are going to held responsible is for overhyping it and not really being clear about what it is and what it does. But a lot of these court cases, I don't think they'll go anywhere.
All right. So everyone thinks it's not going anywhere. Kevin, I'm going to pose this to you since you originally said this is no way they're going to win. Sure. Sam Altman and OpenAI absolutely 100% know this thing hallucinates. It's non-negotiable. They know it makes false information.
Correct.
So
correct.
to me, that seems like that could be gross negligence, that you're releasing this product. You know it's going to lie about people. You don't really freaking care because people are paying you, 2 cents per query. So don't you think that eventually someone's going to get harmed enough by something that's said and their reputation is solely damaged that they come after and they just put $1 billion lawsuit against
Well, I think,
OpenAI?
yes, this guy certainly is doing that.
Yeah.
But I also think they're going to have to prove that OpenAI knew that the particular statement that was going to be generated would also be false. And they don't. They just know that it can be false, right? That it could be false, but it could also be equally true. So it's like, it's this black box, and you can't say, hey, you're intentionally targeting me, right? OpenAI is intentionally saying bad things about me to try and make me look bad, when they're not. It's just random. It's random. It's whatever words, like Paul said, it's an engine that spits out the next word. It doesn't understand context or anything. So it could just as easily have been positive. And I'm sure what will happen is, when it comes to the lawsuit, they'll rerun this prompt 100 times, and they'll say 50 of them are positive, 50 of them are negative. You just happen to see the negative one and run with it. Like, we can't control that. Like, that's just how AI works. And that's to my point. If they carve out that little section, part of Section 230 that says we can now hold these responsible, it will kill this, because no company will be able to ride that. Like, they just won't be able to ride that out, because they'll be just inundated with lawsuits. They'll never survive it.
Right.
Like,
I think the lawyers are coming.
The thing that I'm going to say, like, anybody who use these generative models, who is in the thing, they all know, oh, wait, it's prone to hallucinate by nature. It's a random word generator. Basically, nobody has like this belief that, oh my gosh, whatever it's going to say is 100% true. It's only the people that are non-technical who are overhyped by the belief, and they don't understand how they work. And by nature, something that's not able to tell you the truth, how can you, because it doesn't know, like, how can it be responsible? It's just rolling the dice and seeing what comes off. It's the humans that read it, get offended by it, because it's just like, but like, I could write you, like, so the difference is, like, I could know that guy and I could be like, that guy's a jerk. Let me write this thing. I'm, as a human, have malice, and I'm writing it with intention. All the things that I just mentioned, ChatGPT doesn't have. And so how do you sue that? Like, you can't. Yeah.
But people believe it. The lawyer ran that case, and he cited all these cases in the airlines, and he believed it. He shouldn't believe that. This journalist believed this about this radio host. They shouldn't believe it, but they do. That's the problem. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, that's what I was going to say, Bobby. To Paul's point, the lawyer who you're talking about in the airline case in New York, he thought that ChatGPT was a super search engine. Like, he thought it was a search engine and not like generative text. Like Paul was saying, how the thing is out there, like, oh, this is this great search engine. I can look up all these things, but that's not what it is. And we need to be more clear about that.
Yeah.
I think it comes back to something we've talked about for a long time. It comes back to knowing what is generated by an AI and what isn't. And then it's on the user. So there has to be some kind of, like, imagine like if there was some kind of digital watermark, or like, I could see everything there's a baked in disclaimer into everything it creates, right? It's going to be like, by the way, nothing I've created is actually factual, or it's potentially not factual, right? And you have to kind of, like, whenever you're using AI, you have to kind of put that disclaimer on it, or it's baked in somehow, or I don't know how that works or what that looks like, but something along those lines kind of at least fixes this. But then people repurpose it, just like this author, I'm assuming, didn't just like, or somebody who writes like an article with ChatGPT, they don't generally just like take it at value and copy and paste it in. A lot of times they're often like using it for the facts and then kind of massaging it into a good story, right? But doesn't make the initial facts true. And then do you still have the disclaimer that it was written by an AI, or is it not then? I don't know.
To this author's credit, he didn't actually write an article. He got the generative text and sent it to the person and said, hey, this is what ChatGPT is saying about you.
Okay. I'm corrected. I stand corrected. He did a good job then. That's good. Yeah. So a funny story, I'm writing a system now. We're getting ready to release a course on writing AI systems, and we're making AI chef. And me and Kevin has been going through making our AI chef make recipes. And one of our negative testing, we're adding weird ingredients. One of them was mushrooms. And then we want breakfast, and we want sugar, spice, bread, and mushrooms. and it makes waffles with mushroom sauce. And Kevin says, it shouldn't. That's terrible. That's awful. And I'm like, you haven't cooked it yet, man. You don't know. And like, and I was making fun of him. I was trying to gaslight him into thinking that it's going to be all right. But there's no way that recipe is great. And that's just an example of AI. Just sometimes it just makes crap up, you know?
Yeah. This AI chef, you can give it like basically ingredients for waffles. And then you can say mushrooms and chocolate. And it will make like, it's like mix the mushrooms with the chocolate. And it's like, oh my, what are you doing? Like it makes the grossest things. Like it doesn't know what a recipe is. It's not a chef. It's just taking these ingredients. It's saying, oh, I've read all these recipes online. This will work. This will work. This will slap it together. And there you go. You've got a recipe. You haven't got a recipe. You've got disgusting.
It does it pretty good, like 80% of the time. But if you give it weird things, you'll get weird results.
Yeah. If you give it valid ingredients, it works great. It makes valid things.
Yeah.
So I was just going to quickly say, I know it sounds like I'm defending AI because it's like an amazing
You don't
thing,
want to
the
be
coolest
shot
thing
by the Terminator.
you could build. Please,
Be nice
don't
to
hurt me.
Alexa and she
Listen.
won't tell you that you're
The two things I'm going to say, it's like a ChatGPT, they're literally not reading the thing below the prompt window that says ChatGPT may produce an appropriate information about people, places, or facts. They should just add a thing there because it's a random word generator, just so people that are non-technical could understand. And then if you read the docs, like I've been like playing, I'm, building all these crazy things with it. If you read the docs, it'll tell you exactly what it's capable, what it does, how much hallucinate, how can you control, probability it's going to hallucinate. How do you say it? Hey, if you don't know, say you don't know instead of, and most people who are not reading the docs, they don't know any of this. They just, to them, it's like magic because they can't distinguish it from magic. They don't know how it works. They don't understand how it works. So the thing that I set for myself, at least, and I'm not going to, be like a research scientist in AI. Like I'm not going to like train my own models. Maybe like I will, kind of get into it. But my goal for like this year or the remainder of it is to become AI literate. So like I understand like what it's capable of doing. And so I'm not part of the hype that's causing all the poor non-technical people to lose their minds and lead to like things like this.
Okay, cool. We'll leave it there. We could talk about AI forever.
I know, forever.
So this story is for Sarah. So apparently, Sarah, if you have an iPhone and you buy a Doordash, you're going to be charged more. I'm not sure what Paul has, but I know that me and you are Android users. Let me ask you a question. Does it offend you that they feel like you don't have any money, therefore we need to give you a discount? Or are you saying it serves you right for buying an iPhone? You should have got an Android device anyway. So how do you feel about DoorDash overcharging you if you make an order on iPhones?
I mean, I'm definitely on the serves you right side of that. I don't know where this idea that if you have an iPhone, it's more expensive. I mean, my Galaxy 22 Ultra was like, $1,200 or something.
It's the same price. The flagship phones are the same price.
Yeah. So I don't know why, and I make a lot of content too about how iPhones are terrible for kids and things like that. And people are always commenting that are kids usually like, oh, upgrade to an iPhone or like stop being poor and get yourself an iPhone.
Upgrade.
Like, yeah. I'm like, my phone was more expensive or about the same as your phone. So stop it.
So I'm wondering, I'm in party circles. I go to a party and I whip out my S23 Ultra. Is people looking down on me now? They're like, "Oh, Bobby's
yes,
whew.
Yep."
We may need to give him $5 on the side here. Because,
wait, do we need to Venmo
clearly.
you? Are you okay?
Are you okay?
I think where this myth comes from, I will say, I think where this myth comes from is flagship phones are the same. Actually, I would say the flagship phones on the Android side now they've got the flip phones are even more expensive than the flagship on the iPhone side for sure. Yeah. But I would say, like globally, I bet the average cost of an Android phone is significantly less than that of an iPhone. Because you can buy a $100 and something, a $200 Android phone, right? You can't even get in the store with $100 at the Apple store, right? Like they're just you buy a case, literally a case for $100. Like
yeah, there's a broader range for sure.
There is definitely a broader range, yeah, and the prices are I guarantee you the average just has to be way less. Nobody's buying the flagships, so I get that, but that doesn't mean and that's just silly. Now the experiment that they did though does kind of prove a point. Whether it does or not, I don't know. But they ran it, and it seemed legit. It's only one person. I'd like to see a broader experiment. But DoorDash did say that like it's not true, by the way. They came back and were like, yeah, that's not true. It was just to do with the device. Maybe they got a special on the device or something, or I'm not buying that. I think it's true.
So Paul, do you use DoorDash? Do you use DoorDash?
I don't use DoorDash. I use Uber, but every time I order food, it's always far away. Now that makes sense. I think they're just trying to recoup their 30% Apple tax that they charge when you put your apps on the iStore, whatever the hell it's called. Because
that is what they said in here, though. 100%. That is what they said in the story. They said one of the premiums that they were adding on were restaurants that were far away to charge you the whatever it was, the surcharge,
expanded range
charge.
Yeah, but they're not clear on like what that range is. So like they charge you an expanded range, but it doesn't say how far you have to be from the store to incur that charge. So that's what's really interesting, I think, about the lawsuit is that they need to be more clear at like what is an expanded range across the board. I would say for Android users and for Apple users that like, okay, no, you have to be 1.5 miles from the store in order to incur this charge.
I think expanded range means, did you not expand your range and went to the iStore and bought an iPhone? Or did you like go shorter distance to your Android and bought an Android phone? Although I am really like excited. I don't know why I want a foldable phone now. And so my next phone might not be an Apple because I don't know what the hell they're doing. Because I hate cases. A foldable Apple, I don't think. I hate cases. And I was like, how do you protect your screen? Just have a foldable phone. Makes sense to me. And Apple, I don't know.
So Kevin, are you going to get a burner phone now for DoorDash orders? You're going to go get a burner? You go to Walmart, pick up the $99 burner phone?
Maybe
just to order food.
DoorDash.
Just food. So here's the thing. I remember a few years back, was in the office and I was with my then boss Hashim, and we were looking at buying something online, and I can't remember what we were looking at. And he had an Android phone and I had an iPhone. And I can't remember what service it was. I don't think it was Amazon, but we were looking at buying something online. It was a service. And we looked at the website, and it did have different device pricing. He was getting a cheaper price on his Android than I was on my iPhone. So this thing has been around for a minute because we like blew up about it because being in marketing, we're like, what is happening here? Like they have device pricing. Since when has this been a thing? So it's been a thing for a minute. This was at least 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been a minute. So this has been around for a while. And I wouldn't put it past them. The fact that they're denying it just makes me think that it's just like, why would you deny it? Just own it. Just be like, yeah, we charge more. Like, who cares? Like, if it's a thing, it's a thing. Just tell us it's a thing. You're not the only ones doing it. Maybe just nobody's being honest about it.
Is it illegal to do it, Paul? Do you think it's sketchy, illegal? Should they be sued for $1 billion because you paid $1 more for that burger?
If Apple is able to take 30% of your profits, I think the business could take 30% of the profit to recuperate. You can't have, your cake and eat it too. It's like, there's got to be, I think that's what it is. Hypothetically.
I don't think it's illegal. I don't think it's illegal. I don't think it doesn't cover any current like discrimination type laws. It's not, you can't discriminate against device type. That's not one of the things that it's not protected category, I should say, right?
I mean, according to Apple users, you can discriminate against a device type with the whole like green bubble thing, but we will leave that for another day.
Well, that's a different thing. But there's no like, it's not a protected category.
Right.
So I would say it's fair game. I don't think you can sue. I don't know how they can sue. What are they? What is the sue? What are they actually saying? You just charged me more, therefore I'm going to sue you? Is that it?
Discrimination based on this device.
It's discrimination on your device. Wow. It's saying because you have
not
an
a protected
iPhone,
category.
you could
That's
afford.
not a law.
I know it's not, but you never know.
I don't think that has any merit then.
Right. I think I just need to go to San Francisco and shoplift an iPhone. I hear you can do it for free, so it doesn't matter. And that way I can get my burner device, and then I can take it to parties, and people will think I'm more successful. If I have a new iPhone.
Do actually have an iPhone here too that I use because I do a lot of content for people who use Apple devices. So
right, okay.
But every time I have to touch it, like I feel a little dirty inside.
Just back to one of your points, Paul. I'm with you on the no case, no screen protector gang.
Yeah, hell no.
Let the device be. That's why I have Apple Care. If I smash it, I'll go get a new one, and it's going to cost me $60 or whatever it is. Like, they
did a story that like only a certain class of people rock phones without cases. They did that story too.
Really?
The best ones.
Yeah.
That's all I remember from
Only the smart people who like the design of the phone.
Yeah.
That was literally my question in my Reddit sub. I have a subreddit for family tech, and that was literally my question today. Like, do you have a case and a screen protector, just a case, just a screen protector, or fully naked?
So what's the poll? Did you?
Yeah, like those 4 questions.
Do you know what the results are yet though? When do they?
No, I haven't looked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
Oh, I want to go see.
Me and Kevin are going to be the only 2 rocking it.
I'm going there to vote right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so here's a true story. I have a S23 Plus for a reason. I had S22 and my case broke on the S22, and I don't upgrade every year. And that phone lasted 7 days. And then I was in the store getting a new one because I had dropped it 3 times and broke it.
So here's the thing. It is a skill. I will say this. This is a weird thing to say, but not having a case takes some getting used to, and you have to build a skill. You have to build a tactile skill with it. You have to hold it and move it, and this is a real thing, I swear. Hold it and move it around in your hand and grab it, and you will get used to it not dropping it. I've dropped one once in, I think, 4 phones without a case.
Well, I think it's a conspiracy. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, but like if you have an S23 and you take the case off, it's like the slickest aluminum ever.
It's 100% true.
You know how my phone broke? I had it in my pocket and I sat down, and the place where I sat down was in a chair, had a concrete floor, and it slipped out of my pocket. I'm like, I didn't even drop it, and it's broken. And I'm like, put a case on it. They just need some grippers on the back or something, man. They should.
Yeah. I guarantee you they do tests, like to test how easily can you make this phone slip out of your pocket. So here's how my iPhone broke. Literally, like I put it on flat surface and it just slid off, like on its own. It's like, and I was watching it happen, and I was like, why is this even sliding? Maybe like I was just like, and yeah, like I think you need to develop special skill to handle like a naked phone, but they are designed to easily slip. That's not even a thing. Like 100%. It's not a conspiracy theory, because every time I put it anywhere, it usually falls, and I'm just
has a gravity well in it. It just pulls it down to the floor.
Exactly. They discovered the technology, too.
The only thing I have on mine is a sticker. I put it's like I forget what it was made by. I should maybe this is mine, like not for next week, but it's not. It's shiny. It's not like
1 second.
It's very it's slippery still. It doesn't have any like grip to it at all. I thought it might, but it doesn't.
I'm way too clumsy.
So my phone is like the One Ring. It wants to.
My
fall.
phone also has stickers because it's all broken.
Look, there you go.
It's all broken because I don't have a case, but I refuse to have a case. So this back portion is all missing. So I put all the stickers to cover it. Strappy, best stickers ever. Headless CMS. You should all check it out. It's amazing. But
I like
it's
I like the self.
But I have to use my Apple Care to replace my phone, but I don't want to drive to the Apple store, which is kind of lazy.
You don't
on my part.
You can actually do it. You can do it online. So I did it once. I actually paid. There's an upcharge you can pay too. You can pay like I think it's $60 or $70, and then you've got to wait and you've got to send yours in, and they send yours back. Or they'll do like I think it's $100, and they'll send you a phone first, then you can send yours back, and it's all remote. I got it the next day. They literally FedEx overnight it.
No
it was really good service. It was like $99. I think it was $99. They FedEx overnight it. You send yours back in, and away you go.
Probably
I do have
out of the truck. Samsung's so slick on the back.
I do have a question for Sarah because I see, how all these parents are like, oh, I don't want my kids to, have an iPhone and an iPad early enough. Like, what are your stances on that? I was wondering because I see parents sometimes they'll just put an iPhone to their kids, like a way for them to just like stop bothering their parents. And I feel like I'm not going to judge, but
I just saw hundreds of them at Disney, by the way.
I'm sure.
Experience my trip on the iPhone.
If you're talking about just like handing over a device or like giving access to technology, I'm all for that. Like at a young age, I mean, my kids were playing on the computer when they were 2 or 3, but just because I've always been in IT. And so there's always been a lot of technology in my house, but definitely with parental controls, with things to manage it. But for their own devices, I would never, ever, ever give a kid an iPhone. I would start them out with one of the kid-safe smartphones or an Android device where I can lock it down and monitor it way better than I can with an iPhone.
Makes sense.
Okay. Do you lock it down at the router level in your house, or are you like...
Multiple multiple levels.
Okay, so you're
There's many
running like the
levels.
special DNS servers. What is it, OpenDNS or something like that? Instead
Yeah,
of
so I do use OpenDNS. I have a Wi-Fi router that has built-in parental controls, and then I have parental controls on the device itself, like through Google Family Link and through Bark for monitoring. So there's a plethora. Like I think I did a reel once of like how many parental control like systems do you have, and it's like
Yeah.
1 not enough, 2 not enough, 3 not enough. Like
What's the thing? Because surely 1 is just like you'll get around it, right? It's so you need more than 1 because it's more difficult to get around, right?
Yeah.
oh, well, yeah, and that's go ahead.
I was going to say, funny story. When my son was 8, I hope he's not listening. When he was 8 years old, I was standing out in the hallway and I heard him talking to his buddy. And his buddy was saying, listen, man, you just set the DNS to quadruple 8 so you can get around OpenDNS. Your dad has no idea what DNS is. And Bryce goes, actually, unfortunately, my dad does. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, once my son tried to like say something like tech related to me, I just like looked at him like, you do know what I do, right?
Really,
like,
bro?
Don't come at me with that, bro.
Yeah, you're not going to out tech me.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. Your 8-year-old
that one's
orders
not
a Starlink.
Yeah.
So they have their own satellite signal. Oh, I got this. What is this? Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. Looks like a dish. No, don't worry about it. It's just it's a flycatcher. Starlink self-internet yourself. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Hey, we can get more into that later, though.
Yeah, let's talk about our not nulls and nulls for the week. Kevin, you're coming back from Florida. I know kind of what it is, but give me what you think your null or not null is for the week. I know you'll surprise the crowd.
Starts with T, ends with Witter.
That's it. Starts with T and ends with Witter. That's definitely my null for the week. Yeah. Unban me, Witter. Elon, what are you doing? We'll come back next week with an update on that. Maybe it'll still be my... Here's what I'll promise. As long as I'm suspended, it will be my null every single week. Okay?
It's like a hunger strike.
Yeah.
It will constantly be on here every single week. Twitter, you'll be on here and you'll be shamed every single week. It'll be my null. But my not null this week, coming back from Florida, is going to be, I have to pick Galaxy's Edge because it was amazing. First time going, I haven't been before as a Star Wars fan. If you've never been, it's amazing. It's so good. The rides are amazing. The world is amazing. Seeing a full-size Millennium Falcon is amazing. Like, everything there is just well worth it. It is very expensive because it's Disney. I spent a total of about 4 hours there, and it was like $500 total by the time you'd like tot everything up just for 2 of us. By the time you like, park tickets and your fast passes and all the extra stuff you add onto it. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So, it's not cheap, but I would say if you're a Star Wars fan, definitely go check it out.
Did you drink the blue milk?
Of course, the blue and the green. You got to try the green too. I like the green better. The green was better.
And what do you think of Rise of Resistance? Like, it's such a unique ride.
It's so crazy good. It puts you in Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's not to spoil it too much, but the stuff that you see in there is full size and very, very, very realistic. It's like being in Star Wars. It's even the process of getting on the ride is maybe almost better than the ride.
Yeah.
It's what Disney do really well, right? When you go into the room with all the stormtroopers or they cut the wall away, it's amazing. It's very, very impressive. Yeah, definitely worth the wait and worth the money.
All right, Sarah, what you got? Not null or null this week? What you got?
I've got a not null. It's a new series on Peacock, and I literally binged the whole thing. And there's nobody talking about it on Reddit yet, and I need to talk with people about it. So everybody go watch it. It's called Based on a True Story, and it's about this girl who is obsessed with true crime podcasts, and they think that they have met a serial killer in real life. And so they're doing this podcast with this serial killer, and it's 8 episodes. And I will also say it's kind of also my null because the episode 8, it sort of ends in a cliffhanger, but it's not a series ending cliffhanger. It's wait, that's it? How is this the end of the season? It's
hold on, is it coming back or not?
It's NBC, so
I bet it better. It's Peacock.
Nothing but
It's
canceled.
not
That's what NBC
right?
stands for.
Nothing but canceled. But yeah, I literally watched like all 8 episodes in like almost one sitting. I think I broke it into 2, but it was that intriguing.
My wife's definitely watching this because she's a fan of the My Favorite Murder podcast too, which is like, I guess they talk about in this because I saw the trailer for this before. So yeah, I'll be watching this.
All right, Paul, you got a null or not null this week? What you got?
Not null. I got the View of Philips lights. Fixed all my issues I've been having with the wise garbage lights that I had.
He's no longer in
more
puke green.
expensive. They're more expensive, but totally worth not having headaches over the stupidity ways lights were. And so I'm pretty happy with that. And Alexa found them like very easily, so now I can just control my lights with Alexa. It's pretty nice.
It's pretty slick. I have them in my house. I cannot recommend it strong enough. They're in my office here. It's really great. So my not null for the week is I went over to a friend's house, and I hope they're not listening. They might be though. And he let me ride in his BMW X5 twin turbo. It's an X5 sedan. That thing will make me not buy a Ford. Like, I was amazed by that. So, in true affiliate link fashion, can we make an affiliate link for a BMW, Kevin?
I don't think we can.
It's only $90,000. So
you can get one on Amazon. It's fine. Just create that Amazon link.
But it's the 60i, the one right before the competition model. Unbelievable car. I'm glad he has it. It's like if you know a friend with a boat, great, go ride his boat. I'll never own this car, but like it was cool. It was definitely very, very cool. So that was my not null for the week.
I like it. And he got an M series too.
Yeah, he bought an M series. It was the whole thing, and it went to 70 miles an hour in like 3 seconds. So it was really quick.
Just $90,000.
Yeah, just 90 grand.
It's a bargain.
We get 2 at that price. Get each color, blue and gray.
Yeah.
His and hers. Something like that.
There you go. One for the weekend. One for the week.
I've got that right in my pocket.
All right. Well, that's it for the Not Know podcast. I'm joined by Kevin, Doyle, Sarah, and Paul, and I'm Bobby, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.